the mighty and resilient Merrimack River, carving through the communities of our great region. My name is Linda Lorden, proud president of Merrimack County Savings Bank, and like the river that serves as our namesake, we're a constant yet ever-changing presence. Because to us, it's bigger than banking. It's about powering communities and putting people first. It's about knowing where you came from and where you're going. That's Merrimack style. Visit us at themerrimack.com.
Hey, it's Kim Komando Today, your daily podcast to keep you up to date with all things digital and beyond. And I'd love to have you be a part of our podcast. You can make an appointment to speak with me. Just head over to komando.com, and on the top right, there's a button that says Email Kim. Fill that out, and that's it. I always like to start with something really fun and interesting. And if you're looking for your online love, should your phone come between you and that perfect soulmate? Well, if you're on Team iPhone, it might be more than you think. A new survey from All About Cookies reveals that almost a quarter of all iPhone users see dating someone with an Android as a total deal breaker. Yeah, they're that picky. The biggest turnoff are those green bubbles when you're text messaging. Oh my gosh. Yep, no one's green with envy for an Android. Oh, but I love you. Don't you worry about that. Hey, you better buckle up, Buttercup, because I am here to help you stay tech ahead. So this way you're never left tech behind. And that's my job as America's digital goddess. I'm Kim Komando, and you just tapped into the biggest show, the most trusted show. And you can find my award-winning show on over 420 top radio stations throughout the United States. And of course, as you know, I'm streaming in your favorite radio app. And you can now get the Kim Komando Show as a podcast. Yes, just search for Komando with a K wherever you get your podcasts. And a big hello and salute goes out to all of our listeners on the American Forces Network Radio, reaching over 375,000 U.S. service members all around the world. Now, great sponsors help to make the show possible. And you know the deal. I always negotiate these fabulous money-saving deals with all of our sponsors. And to get the links and the promo codes that you need, just go to one spot. That's komando.com/sponsors. All righty. Every single day, I dive into at least 35 different sources to make sure that you and I know exactly what's happening in the tech world, because it's just all over. And here are the top 5 things you need to know about right now. And for most of America, if you turned on the news, everybody was talking about hurricanes this past week. But here's something that's really crazy. The best hurricane tech forecasting tool, one that could have saved so many lives by giving advanced warning of the hurricane's path, it's not available to the public, and you're not going to believe why. For the last 4 years, NOAA, that's the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, used hurricane forecasting tools that surpassed all others for accuracy. It's called the HCCA model, and it was developed using our tax money. But our government licensed this powerful tool to a private corporation. Now, it's just a scandal that neither the National Weather Service nor the National Hurricane Forecast Center can get this data. Would it have saved lives? Absolutely. And the answer is yes, especially, with Hurricane Helene and then Milton. All right, moving on to number 2 of our 5 things that you need to know. Let's talk about license plate readers. It's been a real advantage for law enforcement everywhere, catching drunk drivers, stolen cars, and road rangers. But what it's also being used for is going to make your blood boil. This is precisely what privacy advocates have warned about for decades. License plate readers are now using AI software, and it's being used to read bumper stickers. Yeah, you heard me right, bumper stickers. From Trump vans to pro-abortion, Harris Waltz to pro-gun owners, these cameras are creating a searchable database that, without a doubt, it's going to link the owner of the car to their political views. And if they happen to be able to see your front yard, well, they're going to also record any political yard signs you have. Wired.com reports that anything that these cameras can see, they will record, even Christmas decorations. And if you don't have any, the government's going to figure out what it thinks that means too. All right, moving on to number 3, let's talk about the election. Candidates are pulling out all the stops, asking for donations in any amounts, even as little as $5. And that means that the scammers, they're just working overtime. I cannot stress this enough. This election runs on raw emotion. Campaign money is the name of the game. It's not just the White House. It's also the Congress, the House, the Senate. Gubernatorial races and local races are all clawing for cash. Big money's being raised on social media with fake news. Emotional headlines like election may be canceled, non-citizens get to vote. Okay. Never give money to any links from any social media stories. In fact, try not to click any links at all. You don't want to donate with a check or a debit card. Never donate over the phone. Just go to the candidate's real website. All right, moving on to number 4, let's talk about 23andMe. Wow, the company's stock has tanked. The entire board has resigned. The CEO says, yeah, I think we need to sell the company. So if you shared your DNA with 23andMe, you really need to listen up, because this means that your genetic info could be up for sale too. And you don't really know who's going to have their hands in it. I mean, insurance companies, pharmaceutical giants, bankruptcy courts. I hate to hit you when it hurts, but if you shared your DNA, you also don't know what hackers may have done with it. And you cannot stop it from being sold. So head into your account settings now, look for delete your data under 23andMe data, and just remove it before it's too late. I know your DNA is already out there, okay, but let's make sure that it doesn't get sold 10 times over from here. All right, moving on to number 5. When you order a drink, you like it because, well, you know that it's mixed by a real human and you can have this great conversations with the bartender. Well, now comes the robotic bartender. Okay, there's no question we're all about to see a revolutionary change behind the bar. Artificial intelligence robotic bartenders are already being mass produced and they are for sale. They have names like Kime, that's Kime. It's a humanoid bartending kiosk that hears your order, mixes it in seconds, works around the clock, and get this, never wants a tip. Companies like Truebird and Bear Robotics are just rolling out with competing models. Now, the larger bars were the first to start saving money because what? Yeah, exact pours and measurements. So it's not like, hey, I think it was a little light over here. No, you got your 1 ounce, you got your 2 ounce, and that's it. And coming next, replacing coffee baristas. And so while AI may one day take over the world, it's starting at the corner bar. And soon it's going to be your yoga class. Yes, your yoga class. No, I didn't say I'll have a glass. Hey, you better have your thinking cap on because let me tell you, this show is totally jam-packed. We're going to talk about how you can watch free movies online legally, how you have to check a special report for any mistakes because it's tracking all your data and you don't want your bad data, mistaken data out there for anybody just to buy it. All the times that you need to change a password, and if a medical claim was ever denied, you need to take this next step. And of course, we have all of your great phone calls, and you have me, Kim Komando.
Okay, it's official. We are very much in the final sprint to Election Day. And face it, between debates, polling releases, even court appearances, it can feel exhausting, even impossible to keep up with. I'm Brad Milkey. I'm the host of Start Here, the daily podcast from ABC News. And every morning, my team and I get you caught up on the day's news in a quick, straightforward way that's easy to understand, with just enough context so you can listen, get it, and go on with your day. So, kickstart your morning. Start smart with Start Here and ABC News, because staying informed shouldn't feel overwhelming.
Okay, I want you to go here, winfromkim.com. Go to winfromkim.com. I'm giving away a brand new iPhone 16 Pro with Apple Intelligence. No purchase required. Just go to winfromkim.com. All right, you have to get at least one issue of my free newsletter, but you're going to love that. Go to winfromkim.com. Once again, winfromkim.com. All righty, let's see. How about we start with Robert in Atlanta, Georgia? Hi there, Robert.
I'm good, Kim. How are you?
I'm great. What's going on?
I really love your show. I really started getting your email blast, the current, recently. I learned a lot of good stuff off of there, so I'm glad I'm on that now. So I'm learning a little bit.
Awesome. Good.
So I'll preface this by saying she's got a 16-year-old Facebook account with 2 businesses on there. She's in many groups. She's got a lot of friends, and she really wants that main account back, even though I have started her another one just so she could be in contact with some of her groups and friends and put another business page up there. But she was hacked in May,
okay,
and then she got hacked again about 2 weeks later. And all they did was just send her a little notice that said, you've been hacked, change your password. So she did. But then about 2 weeks later, she gets a notice. She says, "You've been disabled, suspended. No notice, no reference number, no nothing." And so we went through the normal hacking things that Facebook gives you. And every time we wanted to get a reference number to try to get back in, it referenced somebody else's email or somebody else's number.
It's such a nightmare.
So
it is.
It was a nightmare.
It's just bad. And they just don't care. They don't care.
They don't care. So anyway, I couldn't go there. So I noticed that when I tried to sign in with Google, it would give you a reference. It would give you an email or a phone number. So I got on her Google and put my phone number and my email as her restore sources. And lo and behold, I was able to log in with Google, and my number came up. I was able to get in. I said, "Hallelujah, I'm there." But lo and behold, I get on the Facebook account, and it's some Nigerian lady with 4,000 followers. I don't know these people. And so since I was in there and it was now my account, I just immediately changed the password and deleted it. I said, this is not going to do me any good anyway. But she still has an account floating out there because when I put in her previous password and her email address, it said your account is disabled. But what's really funny was that account that I pulled up has her Facebook name and her email address, and they're posing as her.
Well, yeah, so, and then that's what they do. That's why they take over the accounts, so that this way they can scam all your family members and friends, and then they can post sad puppy pictures, right?
Yeah.
And they can get everybody to comment on it and how horrible it is that this puppy is being abused, and then when they get enough of that, then they change the link to be some site that looks like it's a Facebook login, and then they're going to steal from you again. I mean, this is in Facebook. I just don't understand it, that this is a public company with shareholders, but they just don't care about their customers being you or anybody else that gets hacked. They say, well, we just have too many. We can't do it. So as far as to get the account back, was this by chance a business page?
Well, they wiped out everything. They took her personal and her two business accounts, which were, like I said, we're going to restart those back on another. But another thing I meant to mention was when I got that hacked account to come up, I was an idiot and hired this guy who said he could restore our account. And so if you go to Facebook and type in "restore my hacked account," don't do it. They're just going to take you for money.
Yeah,
but on the hacked account, his name was all over. Please call this guy. He's going to help you out. I was like, my gosh, he's part of it. And so my last thing I'm on now is the oversight board. And that's supposed to get you into, and that's actually a meta site.
Yeah, it is.
Oversight board. And, but it wants you to reference it wants you to put in a reference number. And we never got a reference number, so that's where I am now.
Might
have some insight.
Yeah, it is a complete nightmare. It is. Okay, there is no magic bullet to get Facebook support. Anybody who says that like you did, you got taken on it. How much did you give the guy?
I'm embarrassed to say, but it's about $1,500.
Oh, ouch! It's a lot.
Yeah, he kept on coming and kept on coming, and I know he has some kind of fake program. And it looks so official. He says, I'm doing this, I'm entering this, and I need this to do this. And I should know better. I'm not an idiot. But, it looks so real. And so I need $300 for this. Like, I was already up far enough, and he finally wanted another $300. I said, I'm done, buddy. I said, I know I've been taking like crazy. Enjoy your pizzas and hamburgers or whatever.
Whatever else that you got. It's probably in India. That's like a year's salary.
Right.
Okay, so a couple of things you can do is that the Facebook, they do give better attention to a business account than a consumer account. That Facebook oversight board, I don't know if you can just make up a reference number, and just throw it in there because you got to fill out that field, and then see what happens and include any screenshots of anything that you've seen. There have been cases where in order to get an account back, what the person does is that they go to a small claims court and they file against Facebook. Because what that does is that gets you in front of their legal department.
Yeah.
And I have heard of some success in people doing that. But I think there's a bigger lesson in here for all of us. And what that is that, we can't be reliant on these big social media companies to feed our business and to feed our families, because they're all about collecting your data and selling you targeted ads. That's what they do. Okay. That's how they make their money. Any piece of data that is out there, right? Like for example, Consumer Reports recently said that, they answered that question. Is Facebook listening? Because whenever I talk about something, it seems like I see ads about it on Facebook. And they came back and they said, no, Facebook is not listening. They're not listening. What they're doing is they're buying data from 48,000 companies who are listening. So, yeah, those apps that you have on your phone that you don't pay attention to because nobody reads the terms and conditions, yeah, they're probably listening. So go back to that oversight board, see what happens, and maybe you do go into a small claims court. Maybe that might work, or you just cut your loss and you just keep going on. Robert, thanks for your call today. Okay, you may see online that if you buy the Meta's Oculus Rift VR headset, that you get tech support for Facebook in case your account ever gets hacked. Okay, that used to be the case, and it worked for a couple of months, but it doesn't work anymore. Just passing that along. All right, let's talk about your medical claims. If they ever get denied, of course, you're going to be sitting there with a big bill, and you're like, well, how did this even happen? What did I do wrong? Well, you can take action if you know this secret trick. Did you know that your insurance company must provide details on why your claim was denied if you ask for it? This info, called your claim file, yeah, that's what you need to ask for, your claim file, includes all the emails, call recordings, and also medical records. So if you want to challenge the denial, you'll need it all. Now, ProPublica has a claim file helper on its website, so this way you can just request it easily. You just answer a few questions. It creates the PDF request letter for you, and your insurance must respond within 30 days. And ProPublica can also follow up to make sure that you get your file. Now, some folks have found that denials were due to cost cutting or just plain mistakes. So you need to know your rights. Visit projects.propublica.org. Once again, that's projects.propublica.org. And if you ever need that address, you can just use the search tool over on my website. That's komando.com. Coming up in just a few seconds, how you can watch movies for free legally on the web here on The Kim Komando Show. So I'm going to tell you about this website that you need to go to, where you are going to request a report of everything that they know about you, and then you can scan it for mistakes. And the report comes to you by the mail. Okay, when I got my report the other day, oh my gosh, it was over 40 pages. Wow, 40 pages. That's coming up in just a few seconds. And also later on, the most important times that you need to know to change your passwords. And before we get to that, and your phone calls, do you remember when ditching the cable saved you a lot of money? Not so much, because then we started paying for streaming services like Amazon Prime and Netflix and Max, and then you have Apple TV. Okay, it costs over $110 a month, $20 over last year with even more ads. That's the average. Now, I don't know if you've tapped into it, but YouTube actually has a bunch of free movies. It has a dedicated channel that updates its selection every single month. I mean, it's not the latest movies, but you do have great things like Vertigo, The Life of Pi, The Truman Show, LA Confidential. It's all there for free. Okay, you do need to see some ads, but if you go to YouTube, find the YouTube Movies and TV channel, and then select free with ads. But there's also public domain movies on YouTube too. So this way you can binge watch without subscribing to any more streaming services, because it's so annoying, isn't it? Wow. Craig in Lebanon, Tennessee. Hi there, Craig. Glad to have you with us today.
Well, had a little incident at Mass a few weeks ago. My daughter had her backpack stolen out of the back of my truck. I got about other 12 people in the parking lot while we were all in church. And
That's awful.
I know.
That's just awful.
Yeah, they stole a phone from a blind man, so you can tell there's some karma coming around at some point.
Yeah, I sure hope so.
Yeah. So anyway, my daughter had a MacBook Air, and her mother was able to get that locked down, and she had AirPods and some other stuff in there along with her books. She decided I was going to replace everything, so she decided she wanted to go the PC route. So we got a Surface 5 and got enough memory and storage and everything on there to get her through, hopefully, to college. She's 15 now. And the things that I normally get done, you get the Geek Squad to do that and got all that done. But there were 3 things I wanted to make sure that because of this incident that we don't have that happen again. The first one being, I wanted to make sure that there was a way that I could put either an app on there or something to where we could remotely lock it down if something like that were to happen again, because I'd love to just make it a brick, and that way they can't do anything with it but sell it for parts. I want to also, because she lost, she's been putting her notes in that she had to go back and get for a month now, that trying to get those back in. So I want to be able to get a backup. Now, she's got OneDrive, so when she's using the Office 365 apps, she can get those backed up. But I'm thinking for anything else, I've got Carbonite on mine and the iDrive on my dad's. And would that be better than putting on maybe an external hard drive and having her, keep that, because, she'll be...
Okay, well, let's just stop right there, Craig. Before you go through all 3, let's just go one by one, okay? As far as the tracking and remote wipe software on the MacBook, I mean, yeah, it's fabulous. You just hit one button and it's like, poof, everything's gone. Yeah. A similar option is called Prey, Prey. And it's at preyproject.com. It's free for up to 3 devices.
Oh, perfect.
And that includes both tracking and remote wipe features. So again, you're going to use Prey Project. It's been around for a long time. Let's move on to the cloud backup. Is Carbonite, like you mentioned, they've been around for a long time. They've kind of focused more on enterprise, and that's where they've kind of pointed that ship. And we use and recommend iDrive here. I know Carbonite, they were a sponsor of the show for, I think, like 10 crazy years.
Yeah.
But then they told us they were getting out of the consumer market business, and then that's when we picked up iDrive. And it'll back up everything, and it's, use my name, Kim, you save like 90% the first year. It's about $8 a month, so that this way everything aside from 365 is also backed up. Like, her photos or movies or whatever else she may be doing on there, that she's not going to come to you and say, Daddy, I just lost everything, because that's heart-wrenching. I know that is. And so, okay, so those 2. Then you had a third one.
Yeah, no, did you just say that that Prey that also has GPS tracking?
It does.
Because my thinking is if it's a software operated, that they would have to turn the machine on, and then I might get a blip. But, I didn't know whether I needed to find something that was similar to a LoJack where they don't have to do anything but just have it in their hand and I can find them.
Well, it is software related. You can always put on something like a GPS tracker on it. You can actually get some type of laptop case and put a tile or, she has an iPhone and an AirTag attached to it. But thieves are so keen to them right now. I would just assume that they're going to turn it on, and whoever they try to sell it, it's going to be turned on to even see if it works. So I don't think that's necessary to put a type of LoJack on that.
Okay.
And then you had a third? You said you had 3 things? I've counted number 2, and I'm blonde, but let's get to the third one. Okay.
Yeah, that was. It was the making sure to get Prey, and then also the backup, and then the GPS tag it.
Okay, Perfect. Well, one thing that you might want to check, and, with the Apple serial numbers and stuff, I'm sure you filed a police report. And,
yes.
There are some cases where these things do come back at some point. But, it's just horrible. You're in church. You don't want to take everything in with you. I mean, I do that myself when I go to Mass. I leave my phone in my car because maybe I shouldn't say that. No, I go to Mass and I take my phone with me into church. Always. 100%. Ugh, what a nightmare. Greg, thank you for your call. Oh, and speaking of data broker sites, yes, there's one called LexisNexis. It's a company that knows more about you than you know about yourself. It's this massive data broker that collects information all about you, your financial history, your jobs, your location, everything. Then all this goes into your LexisNexis consumer report. You have one, you probably just didn't know it. So who's interested in buying this information? Just like I mentioned before, these background check companies, employers, insurance agencies, even the government. Now, LexisNexis data is used to decide if someone wants to hire you, insure you, or lend you money. And yes, all this is legal. So what you'll want to do is head to the LexisNexis Consumer Center website. You fill out a form. They will need your social security number and your date of birth. Then when you get your report by U.S. mail, I want you to read it super carefully because there's a mistake. You can file a dispute. Once again, that's the LexisNexis Consumer Center website. If you need the address, just go to komando.com. That's komando.com. All right, still to come, we have more of your phone calls as well as the most important times that you need to change a password here on the Kim Komando Show.
Okay, it's official. We are very much in the final sprint to Election Day. And face it, between debates, polling releases, even court appearances, it can feel exhausting, even impossible to keep up with. I'm Brad Milkey. I'm the host of Start Here, the daily podcast from ABC News. And every morning, my team and I get you caught up on the day's news in a quick, straightforward way that's easy to understand with just enough context so you can listen, get it, and go on with your day. So, kickstart your morning. Start smart with Start Here and ABC News, because staying informed shouldn't feel overwhelming.
Let's see, Robert in Wilmington, North Carolina. Hi there, Robert.
Well, hello, Kim, and thank you for taking my call.
You betcha.
Hey, my item today is this letter that I got. I hope you got a copy of it, from this company that calls itself Change Healthcare, and its letter gives a post office box of West Sacramento, California, and it says, "We're sorry to tell you about a privacy event. We represent some doctors and some healthcare plans and health insurance."
You know what? This is a big data breach. It happened actually last February, and it affects 1 in 3 Americans. The total is, I think it was like 110 million individuals. It's a massive data breach. They got names, they got addresses, they got dates of birth, medical records, insurance details, payment information, social security numbers. I mean, they got the whole kit and caboodle. You get my drift? Okay, everything. So apparently you were part of that data breach. That's why they sent you a note in the mail, and they're telling you that you can get free identity theft insurance for a while.
Even though I've never heard of this company.
Well, you may have never heard of this company, Robert, but this is a huge outfit. They do a lot of the back end processing. So you may be familiar with your local hospital name or your urgent care or even your dentist. They do a lot of things. They do payments, patient billing, your pharmacy benefits. If you had an x-ray, they were probably involved with that. If you're on Medicaid or Medicare, they have a whole division for claims management. They do other types of back-end processing that I don't even know if I would fully understand. Okay. So,
and IDX is a well-known outfit, and they're okay to do that.
Exactly. So if you were part of the Change Healthcare data breach, as I mentioned, 1 in 3 Americans are part of that. If you were part of that, then they're going to be offering you some free identity theft services, so that this way, if somebody tries to pretend that they're you, that they're going to get blocked and you're going to get an instant notification. Now, here's the deal. We're talking about your medical records. And so you really need to pay attention to anytime you get anything about this explanation of benefits, that you really look at it and say, oh, yeah, that really was me. Or you call them and say, no, that wasn't me. Because with medical theft of your records, that becomes a big red flag. Because let's say, God forbid, you need a new hip. So you go to the doctor and they say, you know what, we got to make sure that this is going to be covered by insurance before we move forward. And then you go to get the new hip and they say, sorry, it's not covered because you already got 3 new hips. And you're like, no, I only have 2. And they're both the original ones that I've had forever. So that's why I make sure that you look at any explanation of benefits and do sign up for that free ID theft insurance because, you know what, it's such a nightmare. It seems like every other day there's a new data breach, but this was a big one again, as I mentioned. Robert, thanks for your call today. So many data breaches. It just never stops, right? Just never stops. Stephen in Austin, Texas, you're up next.
Good afternoon. How are you doing today?
Wonderful. What's going on?
Oh, just very glad to talk to you. Just got a couple, actually one simple question here. I'm somewhat frugal, so I'm looking for an inexpensive, cheap way to know if my garage door is open or closed. If I leave the house and 2 minutes later and I think, oh, did I shut the garage door or not? And so I'm looking for something that I can look at my phone and it'll tell me doors closed or doors open. Mm-hmm. And I'm kind of a tightwad, so I don't want to spend
you know
a
what?
lot of money.
I heard you say you're cheap, and now you say you're a tightwad. I mean, gosh.
Well, actually, those are bad words. Frugal is a better word, I think.
Yeah, frugal's good. Cheap is also that. You know, you're cheap. Okay.
Well, So I wear the label proudly, but just looking for some simple way that I can look at the phone and say,
probably the cheapest way is for you just to look with your eyeballs before you drive away. Okay. Just, I mean,
well, I've done it a number of times. Just to go, I better drive back around, go down the block, and come back and see if the door is closed.
I totally am with you because sometimes it's like I do that same thing. I'm like, gosh, I left so quickly. Is the garage door closed? I better go make sure and see. But I can get on my phone and I can look at something called the MyQ Garage Door Hub. And it's a smart garage door. And what it does is it works with most garage door openers, and it's very reliable. As I mentioned, I have it in 2 places. Actually, I have it in 3 places now that I think about it. And it does exactly that. You can look on your phone. You can open and close your garage door by looking at your phone. If somebody needs to get into your house, you can open it. You can leave it open for a certain period of time. You could give them a unique code. I mean, it really is something that's, if you are looking to have a smart garage door, how often did you ever think you'd say I really want a smart garage door? Okay. Is that you're not changing the garage door. You're just changing a little mechanism with it. Again, it's called Chamberlain MyQ. It's the biggest, it's the best one that's been around. They're priced around $50. Okay.
So it's something you put on the garage door per se, but it will transmit to your phone, open or closed.
Yes, exactly. And exactly. It's really a piece of cake to put in. You could also get a cheap camera if that's what you wanted to. There's a company called Wyze. That's WYZE. Okay, if you're looking for a cheap camera that doesn't do a lot, but that you can just look at it and see exactly if the door is open or closed, that's probably the cheapest one out there. It has night vision built in, and you can also stream it live to your phone using the Wyze app. You can find them on Amazon for about $35. But I'm telling you, the MyQ garage door system is pretty sweet. Hey, by the way, if you're just too shy to come on a big-time radio show and podcast, I still want to get your questions. Absolutely. If you go to Komando.com and hit that link that says Ask Kim, that's where you can drop me a note, and I read every single note that you send me. That's Komando.com/AskKim. And I know you want to send me DMs all over social media and comments all over social media, but you know what? This is the best place to go. Komando.com, and then there's a link at the top that says Ask Kim. I read every single note that you guys and gals send me. And by the way, if you ever want to send me a voice memo, don't be sending me an email. Okay, this is just for voice memos. Is that you can record a voice memo on your phone and then send it to me. I'll play it here on the show. And you send that to podcast with an S, podcasts@komando.com. Once again, that's podcasts@komando.com. I know it. Passwords are a royal pain. Okay, make an easy one you can remember, you're going to get hacked. Make a long one that you can't remember so you don't get hacked, and then you don't remember it. Okay, so here are 4 times that you have to change your passwords in case you do get hacked. Number 1, let's say your username and password was exposed in any data breach. You need to change it. Okay. Next, you get a text from someone that is trying to access your account with a 2-factor authentication code. Change your password. Maybe you fell for some scams or a phishing scam. Again, change your password. You shared a password with credentials to a password manager that you have with someone that wasn't the best idea. Yeah, you need to change your password. Okay, just remember, change your password at least 12 to 16 characters. And don't forget to enter to win that brand new iPhone 16. Go now to winfromkim.com. Once again, that's winfromkim.com. And thanks for listening.
This program is a copyrighted production of Westar Multimedia Entertainment and protected by the copyright laws. Any rebroadcast or use of this program for commercial, business, economic, or financial purposes without the written permission of Westar Multimedia Entertainment is strictly prohibited.